What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen, today, as promised, I am here to give you my final prediction for who is going to win between Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway at UFC 308. I'm extremely excited for this fight. I know that on this channel, it's a meme that I'm like a hater of Ilia Topuria, but dude, I am so fucking hyped for this. I just finished watching Countdown. I can't wait to talk about this fight and to see it live, regardless of the outcome. And I just want to preface this by saying I've been going back and forth on this a lot, and sometimes I don't give definitive predictions, but in this video, I want to make it very clear that I think Max Holloway is going to win. I'm not biased. I'm not hating. I'm 100% picking Max Holloway by either late rounds TKO or unanimous decision. I think this is a really bad matchup for Ilia Topuria, and I know that he's a bad matchup for Holloway. And people are going to point to the Volkanovski fights, which makes sense. Arnold Allen had some good moments against him. Dustin Poirier, obviously a good boxer. Justin Gaethje managed to land like one good fucking punch and drop him. But the thing with Topuria, he's not Volkanovski, right? Like, people bring that up so much. Well, he did Volk in 2 rounds what Holloway couldn't do in 3 fights. They're not the same at all. I don't think Topuria is Volkanovski at all. He has like a similar kind of frame. He's a good boxer. He has good wrestling, which I think is going to be a big factor in this matchup. But when it comes to Holloway versus Topuria, I feel like all the things that Volk did well against Topuria, Max Holloway has a better frame to do those things. And he has a better chin than Volkanovski, especially going into UFC 298. And even going into UFC 298, like coming off a knockout loss to Islam Makhachev and then immediately turning right back around for 298. He's still, like, Volkanovski still showed things that I think Max Holloway can use in this fight that he already does, like head kicks, body kicks, a lot of leg kicks as well. Those were working for Volkanovski. Max Holloway does those a lot more naturally because of his fucking frame and the fact that he's way taller at featherweight than Volkanovski or Topuria. Yeah, I feel like the frame of Max and the fact that Topuria, he's not Volkanovski either. Like, Topuria has good calf kicks. He has really good power, good boxing, but I don't really think he's as accurate, as precise, as defensively responsible as Volkanovski. Like, he does have good defense, but I feel like when people try and just use the MMA math, I don't buy that shit, dude. I don't buy the MMA mathematicians out there trying to make me feel stupid for thinking Max Holloway is actually a bad matchup for Topuria, just as much as people want to say Topuria is a bad matchup for Max, right? Because if you watch Topuria fight and you're seeing that jabs, head kicks, leg kicks, body kicks are working against him and he doesn't really throw those back as much, Max Holloway really does have a style where I think he can beat Topuria, because not only does he have those tools in the way that he fights alongside knees up the middle, elbows, the clinch, he lands really good shots as well. We saw Volkanovski do that against Topuria as well. He has high output, right? Way higher than Volkanovski, higher than Topuria. Insane cardio alongside the output that he's going to use to dictate the pace of a fight. Like, when you look at his output, oh fuck, I didn't mean to do that. When you look at his output and the accuracy compared to Topuria, he's higher output, higher accuracy, similar levels of defense, 59% significant strike defense. So it's not like Max Holloway is just walking forward, just walking through punches anymore, especially in his last couple of fights. And that's why I think Max Holloway is going to be able to have a lot of success against Ilia Topuria with the frame, with the fact that he has a crazy chin if he has to eat some shots from Topuria as well. Because when Volkanovski fought long range against Topuria and was using those kicks like I'm talking about, he was doing good in that fight. He won the first round. He was having success in that second round too. And I feel like people just see the knockouts of Topuria and think, oh my God, Max is fucked. And they see these stupid tweets where it's like, Arnold Allen was landing a lot of punches against Max Holloway. It's like, no shit, dude. It's a fight. It's a fucking fight at featherweight. The chances of a knockout are very low. You're going to land, you're going to eat shots, especially when you have the output of Max Holloway. Right? And when it comes to Topuria, yes, dude, he is dangerous. He is a very good striker. I know that I'm usually out here, mate, fuck Topuria, oh yeah, the little fool, he's fucking standing his fucking base, yeah, I grab him by the fucking nose and bop, bop, bop. But I'm going to be 100% real here. Topuria is very dangerous. He is very scary as a Max Holloway fan as well. The power of Topuria is very good. His technique is very good. His wrestling is a big factor that I want to see come up in this matchup. He has talked about it, and I want to see what he does with it. I don't know if it's going to be his main game plan because he wants to knock out Max, but if it's something he needs to use, I could see him maybe getting some takedowns. But at the same time, like, Max Holloway does have pretty good takedown defense. Like 84%, that's pretty fucking good, dude. I know that Topuria is probably the best wrestler he's faced outside of Volkanovski. Even then, Volkanovski really didn't feel the need to do it or really use it that much unless we're talking about the second fight. But I don't think it'll be a huge factor in the matchup, to be honest. When I look at it, like, it could be something. That's why I'm bringing it up. But realistically, I feel like most people would agree this is going to be a primary striking matchup. And I'm picking Max Holloway in that matchup. I feel like he has a lot of openings there against Max Holloway. Topuria has power, like I said. He's very technically sound. But, like, when I watch him fight, I feel like he's swinging so much into his punches, and we can see that it, like, puts him off balance. He loads up shots sometimes. He misses really big, like he did against a lot of times against Josh Emmett, Bryce Mitchell. Jai Herbert obviously countered him with that right hand into the left head kick. I'm seeing a lot of that in Max Holloway's training footage as well. I'm just saying, I feel like he's probably been watching the tape on the head kick that I hit Topuria with. Real ones remember when I chinned Ilia Topuria. So the head kick is there. I feel like the hooks of Topuria, the body shots, they are very wide, and when you're aggressive, especially early on, I can definitely see him missing big against Max Holloway. And I can also see him getting countered when he does shit like that, because Max was doing that really well against TKZ. He was doing that really well against Gaethje. He dropped Arnold Allen with something like that as well. He is really good at kind of like leaning back, catching you with a hook. And I feel like when it comes to counterpunching and reading someone as well, when we look at Topuria versus Volkanovski, Max Holloway has more power than Volk. He can fight at the long range that Volkanovski was having success with, because he does have the same reach as Max and Topuria, or a slight reach advantage. Max's frame and his kicks come a lot more naturally from that. Plus the fact, like I said, I think he has more power than Volk. He chinned fucking TKZ out cold. He chinned Gaethje out cold. And Topuria against Volkanovski, he knocked him out, obviously. But outside of that, Volkanovski's using jabs. He's switching stances and landing good shots that are hurting Topuria, causing a lot of damage on his face if you rewatch that fight. Max Holloway's also really good at switching stances. And he's improved his defense a lot as well. But before I move on to that, I do want to talk about the power thing, because I'm seeing a lot of people being like, dude, Max is like a pillow. Dude, Max has pillow fists. Ilia Topuria is going to KO him, bro. He hasn't fought anybody like Ilia, dude. Ilia's a different level of power. How the fuck does that work? Just explain that to me, because this is where I get kind of heated and I get all like in my personal opinion about this shit. I'm trying to be, analytical, right? I'm trying to be the best predictor on YouTube over here. But it's just weird to me how people, when they talk about this matchup, people will travel all these fucking excuses of why Gaethje sucks, why TKZ's washed, because it doesn't fit the narrative. When you say, no, Max fucking chinned those guys out cold, it doesn't fit the narrative that he's pillow-fisted, or, people will, like I said, they'll make these tweets and these Instagram clips of like, dude, Max getting hit with punches for 2 minutes by Gaethje, ignoring the fact that he completely fucking schooled Gaethje in that fight. And you could do the exact same thing to any other fighter, including Ilia Topuria. He gets glazed to shit for getting dropped by Jai Herbert, complete jobber at lightweight, and KOing him out cold. But people point to the Gaethje fight for Max, going up against the lightweight, getting dropped one time, proceeding to faceplant KO the man after 49-46ing him, right? Hurting him multiple times in that fight, counter-punching TKZ into the shadow realm, KOing him way worse than Volkanovski did, right? He's always been chinny since he came back to featherweight. Let's not act like Volk is the guy that cracked his chin when Ortega was dropping him and schooling him as well. Max is the only guy that KO'd him fucking out cold out of those three. But people, dude, Max is pillow puncher, man. Topuria's gonna fucking kill this guy just like he did Jay Herbert, or whatever this guy's name is. So I feel like that's a very weird, like, double standard that I see when people talk about this matchup. And I'm just going to say it right now. I don't think he KOs Max. I said this to Kenny Akolo, and I'm standing on it, bruh. I don't think he's going to KO Max Holloway. I don't think he's accurate enough. I think people are going to watch this fight and see that he doesn't move his head that much when he's, after he's landed a big combo or after he's swung a big combo. He is there to be countered, especially when there's stance switching involved. Max Holloway is getting really good now in his past couple of fights at blitzing with his high output, body, knees, elbows, straight punches down the middle, but then pulling back and avoiding counters to go back in instead of just pouring it on the entire time of the fight. He is fighting a lot more calculated, as well as sitting down on his shots and causing more damage. And I feel like that's going to be a factor in this matchup that's going to work for him against Ilia Topuria, right? And that's why I'm picking Max, dude. I think when you look at the numbers of this shit as well, if you want to get technical, like I said, he's more accurate than Ilia with higher output. That just negates the defense of Ilia, in my opinion. If you have such good defense, but you're fighting a guy with lower output, you're gonna slip a lot more shit. But with Max Holloway, he's pouring it on. He's increasing his defense. He's increasing his accuracy. He's increasing his power. I feel like that's not going to be good for Ilia Topuria, considering already the fact that Max Holloway is long and rangy as a featherweight. He's fought at fucking lightweight, right? Like, he's added some muscle to his frame. I don't think the weight cut's going to be as bad as people make it out to be, considering, I don't know, he didn't get fucking chinned 3 months ago and then cut straight down to featherweight. He actually had time to prepare for this, and he knew this was next. I feel like people are really, really grasping at fucking straws of things that prove Max is cooked in this matchup. I don't think he is. I think regardless of who wins, it's going to be a very competitive matchup. And I feel like in a fight where someone doesn't get chinned and we're going 5 rounds and we're talking about the output of Max Holloway, right? The chin of Max Holloway, which is such a huge fact. Like, if Max was chinny, I would not be picking him in this. That's all I'm going to say. If Max was chinny, I wouldn't be picking him. That's why I picked Topuria to beat Volkanovski, because I saw him get KO'd. I've never seen Max get KO'd. I've seen him fight big punchers who can one-shot KO people like Dustin Poirier, like Justin Gaethje, who are around the same in terms of their accuracy when they fought Max Holloway that Ilia Topuria is at right now. And that is why I'm picking Max Holloway, dude. I know that he's not as fast as Volkanovski, which does mean we will get counters from Ilia Topuria. Like, make no mistake, Max Holloway's not going to have, like, this flawless fucking victory. I just feel like he's going to have way more output. And Ilya's going to have to land big shots, like 1 or 2 at a time. Whereas Max is going to have big flurries, move out of the way of a counter, go back in again, right? Eat some big shots from Ilia Topuria. Like, the overhand right of Ilia Topuria, I'm sure will land. I feel like body shots are not going to be as big of a factor as some people are making it out to be. But I feel like the calf kick of Ilia is going to be very dangerous. He used that really well against Bryce Mitchell, Josh Emmett, Volkanovski. So that is something he's really good at. That's something Max is susceptible to. But I'm going to just be real. Like, I'm trying not to glaze Max, but dude, he's just going to tank that shit. Max is literally just going to tank fucking calf kicks. He doesn't give a shit, dude. He's going to tank these shots. He's going to tank the calf kicks. And I feel like the longer this fight goes on, the more that happens. He's going to find his rhythm against Ilia Topuria, land head kicks, land knees up the middle, elbows. The spinning back kick is a really good weapon against Ilia Topuria, who ducks his head down. Like, he fights in a very low stance. Like, he stands his fucking base, yeah. I think Max Holloway is going to win a decision, 49-46, maybe 48-47, because Ilia Topuria is a very tough dude. I don't think he's going to gas out too badly. I think this may be one of those fights where Max maybe wins round 1, round 2, and then Ilia wins 3, and maybe Max wins 4, and Ilia wins 5. I could see Ilia coming on really strong late and trying to, prove himself, and they kind of hug it out after. But I think Max Holloway is going to win this by decision. I don't think he's going to get chinned. I think when I picture this fight in my head, it is Max pressuring hard early on, like straight out the gates. Ilia Topuria tries to brawl with him. Max just pumps double jab, right hand down the middle, flicks out some calf kicks, right? Kind of like touches at the gloves. Ilia swings some big shots. Like, I see Ilia using like a lead hook, rear hand, a lot in this fight, and the calf kicks. But I feel like Max Holloway is just going to eat those shots. Topuria is going to be a little bit low output to start off, maybe build as the fight goes on. But Max's chin is too good. His output is too high. I think his defense is improved enough. His chin is very reliable. His cardio is going to be something he can weaponize in this matchup. And I think the biggest thing to me is how Max fights. Like, if it was just about who's the better accomplished fighter, there would be no point in Topuria ever fighting again. He already beat the best featherweight. I feel like stylistically, you have to look at this and be like, well, it's a lot easier for Max being 5'11" to whip up head kicks, whip up body kicks, spam calf kicks, push the pace based on what we've seen on him, rip to the body, which is there on Ilia Topuria. Even in the clinch, I saw Volkanovski landing really good knees. Max Holloway's so good in the clinch with those knees and elbows on the brakes. And even, like I said, the spinning back kick, I can see that landing a lot. So I'm going to say Max Holloway's style, his frame, his chin, his cardio, all of these things make him a really bad matchup for Ilia Topuria. I think the wrestling is going to be the biggest question mark going into this because Max does have good takedown defense, but we haven't seen it against a grappler to the level of Ilia Topuria. So if he loses, I think it will be by decision. Ilia Topuria will have to like mix up the grappling, land some big shots that cause damage. I think it's going to be a very competitive matchup, but I just feel like every exchange will start and end with Max Holloway on the attack, just from the way that he fights and the way that Ilia fights. And if you're relying on a one-shot KO or you're trying to KO Max Holloway, I just don't see that fucking happening. Like, if that happens, I will be killing my... No, I'm just kidding. But, like, I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. I tried to be as unbiased as possible because, obviously, like you guys know, I don't like Ilia Topuria. Like, I don't mind the guy. He's a cool dude, but I have to just stick with what I genuinely think of this matchup. And even before Ilia fought Volk, I've always thought Max Holloway would beat him. And I feel like a lot more people thought that before he beat Volk. And it's easy to see that knockout and be like, well, the division's cooked. But I feel like just on a fight-by-fight basis, when I look at these two fighting each other, I feel like this is the type of fight Max Holloway can really mix things up well. And his kicks and his knees will be a huge factor in this matchup, because we saw those work so well against Ilia, his switching stances, and he's coming into his prime. Like, that's the last thing I want to talk about is, I don't know what it is, maybe because of all the annoying Holloway glazes. I get that. There's equally annoying Ilia glazes out there. Trust me, I fucking deal with them every day, but I don't know why people try and, like, discredit the Gaethje win. That is almost as impressive to me, to go up and fight Gaethje coming off a win, like in the best form of his career, school him, KO him dead, right? Rock him multiple times, definitively prove you are better than him, going up a weight class, than it is to beat Volkanovski coming off the worst loss of his career. Quick turnaround, cutting weight, obviously in a terrible headspace. Like, am I crazy that Max Holloway's win is almost more impressive when you actually look at the context? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below, though. Who do you think's going to win this matchup? What do you think of my analysis? What's your predictions? Let me hear that shit in the comments, boys. This is going to be an amazing card. I'm super fucking excited for this co-main and main event. I'm going to be dropping my full card predictions either tomorrow or the day after. But yeah, stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel. Drop a like. Go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Bedtime MMA. I might go live for this, but it's at 5 a.m. I'm not going to lie. I might be sleeping in. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Have a good one, boys. Goodbye.